When it comes to starting something new, whether it's learning a new language, committing to regular exercise, or any other meaningful goal, many of us find ourselves constantly putting it off. The desire to improve, to engage in self-development is there, but for some reason, we rarely act on it. Instead, we often find ourselves swiping mindlessly through social media, checking our phones, or getting lost in distractions that, in the grand scheme of things, seem far less important. It is as though there is a hidden force at play, one that compels us to turn to these distractions even when we know, consciously, that they are not contributing to our growth. This tendency to focus on trivial, immediate pleasures instead of long-term goals is rooted in a mechanical pattern of behavior that most of us are unaware of. In other words, we are often driven by impulses and unconscious habits rather than making conscious, intentional choices. These impulses, which feel urgent or necessary in the moment, are actually products of a deeper, habitual way of functioning that we rarely question. This is the core of the issue. Our actions are not always governed by what is truly important, but by what feels most immediate and familiar. A crucial part of this mechanical behavior is the false importance we place on activities like scrolling through social media or watching videos. On the surface, these activities seem harmless, even entertaining, and we often justify them as a means of relaxation or staying connected. But they are in reality distractions that numb the mind and keep us from engaging with things that require effort, focus, and delayed gratification. The more we indulge in these distractions, the more they reinforce a cycle of avoiding the things that matter most, such as learning or exercising. The root of this problem lies in our unconscious attachment to immediate gratification. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure, and social media platforms, news feeds, and other distractions are designed to give us quick, satisfying rewards. When we indulge in these distractions, we receive a rush of dopamine, a neurochemical reward that feels good in the moment. But this reward is short-lived and does nothing to address our deeper needs or long-term goals. In contrast, activities like exercising or learning a new language require consistent effort and delayed gratification, neither of which provides the immediate satisfaction that we crave. Therefore, we avoid them, not because we don't want to improve ourselves, but because the discomfort of starting something new, especially something that requires sustained effort, is far less appealing than the instant, fleeting pleasure of a scroll through our feed. But this discomfort is not simply something to avoid, it is part of the work itself. Personal growth and development require us to overcome the initial resistance, to face the discomfort that comes with pushing ourselves into new territory. To break free from this pattern, it's important to recognize that these distractions are not just mindless activities. They are powerful distractions that feed into our desire for immediate relief. When we indulge in them, we reinforce the illusion that they are more important than our goals. In reality, they provide only the most superficial form of satisfaction. We feel busy, but we don't accomplish anything meaningful. It's a paradox. By staying occupied with trivial things, we avoid engaging with the things that would truly nourish our mind and body. But to truly engage with the important things, we must confront the fact that this cycle is not accidental. The more we avoid doing something difficult, like learning or exercising, the more we reinforce the habit of avoidance, and the more we indulge in distractions, the more deeply rooted the pattern becomes. Over time, it can feel like a force outside of our control, but in truth, it is simply a habit that has been allowed to run its course without being interrupted. How do we break free from this? The first step is to bring awareness to the fact that we are acting mechanically. The next time we reach for our phone or open a mindless app, we can pause and ask ourselves, what am I avoiding? What is more important right now? Recognizing that the urge to distract ourselves is often a form of resistance to something more meaningful is the first step in reclaiming our attention. We are not simply trying to avoid tasks, we are avoiding the discomfort of personal growth. Once we have that awareness, we can begin to challenge the false importance we've placed on distractions. This requires a shift in perspective. We must learn to see the value in doing something difficult or uncomfortable in the moment, not because it's easy, but because it serves a greater purpose. By shifting our focus, we start to understand that the discomfort of starting a new activity is temporary and that the rewards it brings, whether physical, intellectual, or emotional, are far more enduring than the fleeting pleasure of a social media post. Additionally, creating small rituals around the things we want to achieve can help break the cycle. If we are trying to exercise, we might decide to always work out first thing in the morning before the distractions of the day have a chance to take over. If we want to start learning a new language, we might dedicate 10 minutes a day to learning vocabulary or practicing conversation. These small, consistent efforts begin to reprogram our habit loops, slowly building new patterns of behavior that are aligned with our long-term goals rather than the fleeting satisfaction of distractions. In this process, it's also crucial to forgive ourselves when we fall into old patterns. The desire to procrastinate and avoid discomfort is part of being human. It doesn't mean we are lazy or weak. It simply means we are operating from deeply ingrained habits. Over time, as we continue to practice mindfulness and consistency, we begin to disrupt these mechanical behaviors and create new pathways in our brain that align with our true values. This is not an overnight process, but a gradual shift in our internal landscape. Ultimately, the key to breaking free from this cycle lies in understanding that the things we often avoid are the very things that will help us grow. Learning, exercising, and engaging in activities that require sustained effort may not offer instant gratification, but they lead to lasting change. The distractions we rely on to feel better in the moment are empty calories for the soul. They may provide temporary relief, but they do not nourish us. True satisfaction comes not from avoiding discomfort, but from engaging with it and pushing through the resistance that holds us back. In the end, the more we practice the art of delayed gratification, the more we build a life that is aligned with our true desires, not our mechanical habits. By embracing discomfort, we embrace the journey of self-transformation, one that requires effort, focus, and yes, the courage to break free from distractions and move toward what truly matters.